Hello, 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 and welcome to another video with myself, MF INCOOM. Today we're talking about seeding a new wallet with Celo, a new Celo wallet, seeding with dollars and Celo specifically, and like doing it anonymously, so not going through KYC methods for exchanges and things like that in order to seed it, but just anonymously. So the first thing I did in this experiment was to bridge USDC onto the chain. So I was on Matic because that's usually one of the cheapest chains, whilst also having a lot of liquidity and connections to other chains. And as you can see, in both situations, I use the USDC POS, the proof of stake USDC. I believe that's a native one on Matic on the chain. And then when I went to multi-chain and I bridged it over to Celo, and there was a 90-cent fee for that. And then when I received it, you can see I had this this USDC coin with F4 as the last two digits of that contract. And when I went to swap it, there wasn't any liquidity that I could find, and I just bailed at that point and sent it back to Polygon, which was fine. So, and then my second attempt was to use the optics bridge, and with that there was no fee. And when I bridged over, it had this the same USDC, but it had a different contract address. It had ended with 44, and then I was able to swap that into like CUSD or into another token, to Celo and other things like that. So, let's go back. I would recommend using Optics Bridge for the moment. That seems to be legit. There's more. There's other bridges on their documentation, and this was the one that I found the best. So, seeding with Celo. So I went to stakely.io. It is a website I've used a lot. They can it's like a faucet for you. You just type in address that you want to be funded, and you kind of send out a tweet, and it just like automatically funds your account with a little bit of the native token in order to do a couple of swaps and stuff. So I did do this. I sent out the tweet, and I did receive some. However, it wasn't enough to fund like an approval and a swap. I think because I initially approved a coin that then had no liquidity in it, and I tried to swap it and stuff, so it just ate away at gas. And when it came down to it, I was unable to like swap the dollars that I'd transferred over into Celo, so that was unfortunate. So this does work if you do it properly, unlike me. But yeah, this is one. So the next one would be then. So what I did was I just searched on the internet, and I found this Let's Exchange website. This is what it looks like. I had to bridge USDC from AVAX C chain, and I sent it to Let's Exchange, and they allowed me to transfer it to like a loads of different tokens. I picked Celo, and they sent it to the Celo address in about 10 minutes. I don't believe the fees were huge. I think it was a pretty good price, and there's like a floating and a fixed price actually. I think I went for floating. I can't really remember, but this is a really good way, a non-custodial way to be able to seed a wallet. So you can do that with loads of different chains. And let's say any other new chain, you should be able to use like dollars on one chain and then convert that into the gas token of a new chain without putting in like any identification and stuff like that. So there's no KYC, so that's pretty good. I think there's options here for it, but you don't need it, and that worked for me, and I'm happy with how that worked out. So I like the anonymity aspect to this. I wanted to avoid using things like Coinbase and stuff, because then they can tie my identity to the wallet. Okay, first impressions. So I have done a bit of research. I can definitely do more. This is all new to me, but just first impressions from like using it for a day or two. So it seems to be stablecoin heaven, which was part of what I knew going into it, and is a strong part of the narrative. I think stablecoins are going to be ever increasing in popularity and use. We know that governments are going to be using CBDC, central bank digital currencies, and I think they've even mentioned like on their website, they kind of make reference to it. And easy payment, and there's also like some, you can donate to universal basic income for people. Like, I feel like this whole narrative feeds into that. Is it a narrative that I love? Like, no, but if it's the one that's going to take over, I'm willing to invest in it. I guess if it does actually help people take custody of their own assets and have dollars and other currencies as well. So that's cool. The different token contracts of the same coin. So that issue I had when bridging over from multi-chain, and then compared to the optics, I received USDC in both instances, but there were two different variations of USDC, which if you're not aware, you may think your funds are lost because like no DEX like recognizes it and stuff like that. So you kind of need to be a bit more experienced, I think, at the moment. If you're kind of doing it this way, you need to make sure you know what token you're sending over and what you're expecting to receive. I guess I just did it just to try out, and I did it with a little bit of funds. I wasn't using a lot. Whoops. And so be wary of that. And I think that's why I went to CUSD so quickly, because I felt like that has kind of it's like the backbone of Celo, really. So I need to have that token, I think, for the moment. Liquidity issues. When I bridged over from multi-chain, I couldn't find any liquidity for that type of USDC token, and then imagine it like trying to buy Ethereum or Bitcoin with it on the Celo chain. That would cause some serious slippage. So it's that's going to be a problem if you've got a bigger portfolio, you're moving bigger size. But that's, I guess, the problem with all small or new blockchains is the liquidity issues, and being in the bear market, liquidity is a hard thing to come by. So I guess it's part of playing the game, and maybe that's why I'm here, because if we can be first when like all liquidity is gone, and we can start investing or checking it out now, then maybe we're in a better position for the future. There's also, because of the different bridges going on at the moment and the different tokens associated with them, that does expose token bridge risk. So if a bridge was hacked, then all the tokens like wrapped by that bridge would be void or stolen or whatever. It would destroy the protocol. So you have that that risk. That's why I went to CUSD, because I believe, I mean, I can't bet on the peg, but at the moment I feel like that's going to be maybe safer, but I don't know anything. Don't listen to me. I kind of like the mobile first aspect. I've used the Valora app and just how it's presented, the way they're trying to encourage you to like send it, and it to be like maybe a PayPal. I think in America you have like the Cash App or something. So I feel like it could be like a crypto competitor to that, which is cool. And then I put CUSD at the end in like a question mark, because I am, unsure about this in the long term. I don't want to sing its praises and it to get destroyed. Like I'm skeptical, but you just, I guess, have to do your own research, come to some kind of conclusions, build up some conviction, question it, and then experiment. I guess when I moved money over, it was a small part, and I kind of expected maybe this money would be lost, but I was willing to kind of learn and use that as a learning experience, and it's going okay so far. So I went on the white paper of Celo about their Celo dollar, and here they talk about how it is like collateralized and how they are able to fix its value. They use Celo as a way to prop up the Celo dollar balance, depending on the supply and demand of Celo dollars at the time. To me, that sounds a little bit like Luna. I think the difference is that Luna didn't have a treasury to back up the dollars, and Do Kwon started to do that towards the end, but he was too late, and UST had expanded so much without such little backing. That's why it collapsed once people wanted to reclaim their UST, and swap it for something else. Whereas I don't get that vibe with CUSD. Also, it says here that they have a diversified basket of non-Celo crypto assets that comprises of the Celo reserves. So that is the thing that underlies the basket or the dollars. So I think in the end, they talk about it being a hybrid crypto collateralization seigniorage style model. Definitely, these are the things you need to be looking at and researching into to get into the nitty gritty of what that means and if this is something you should be investing in. Yeah, I'll make that up to you. I would recommend reading the Celo white paper. I made the effort to put the link up top here because it's important to read these things and be educated. So that's that. Anything else? TVL, because just now you're on chain, you want to do so much. So you can see TVL is pretty destroyed, although it could reach better levels. It could 10x here to all-time highs. It might not, but it could. So you can see there has maybe been some growth for some protocols over the last month or so, but here's just like a little overview of some of them. I use this, is it Uniswap? Ubswap? Yeah, I use this one to swap some dollars into, is it Celo dollars or some Celo as well? There's a couple of things like this Moolah, which is a lending market. I've seen this Mobius as well, which is another DEX as well. So these are some things that I've been trying out, and yeah, seems all right. I think that is it. I would like to thank you for making it this far. Please do your own research, and this has been financial advice, and you need to be careful of the risk that you take in these markets. I'm going to leave it there. So that's been how to fund your Celo wallet anonymously, and the way I went about it. Thank you very much. See you later.